Uh-oh. Oh, no. We're no longer live, man.
All right, well, I guess the show ended there.
Oh, no.
Hello, and welcome to Updog Sports Talk. My name is Matt Miller, and joining me today is Justin McGovern. What's up, dude?
What is up? It is that time of year. We are approaching the Super Bowl. What do we think about it? And we have to ask the question, are the refs going to cheat for the Chiefs in this game?
Yes. I think at this point, actually, you know what? I'll share that thought in a second. So here at Updog, we're also going to talk about Myles Garrett and the Luka Lakers trade. Here at Updog Sports Talk, we pride ourselves in standing up for the little guy, which is why we're going over this topic today. And ESPN and the mainstream media outlets talk about the same three things over and over again. And seems like they're doing it again for the Chiefs. So, with that being said, we are here to talk Super Bowl.
Yeah.
There's only one game left, Justin.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like my enthusiasm personally has been destroyed for this game because obviously the Bills were that close, and then to lose the same way they keep losing over and over. It's made it hard to get excited for the Super Bowl, to be honest. It doesn't feel like a Super Bowl Sunday. It kind of just feels like another Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm
looking more forward to Daytona 500 Sunday than I am Super Bowl.
Oh yes, NASCAR Sunday, but that's upcoming. Obviously, if you're used to talking, hearing us before, obviously we have not talked college football recently, but we'll be getting back to that next week. But for now, obviously this is the last football game, so it may not be as exciting because we just saw this matchup 2 years ago, but it is the last one. So let's dive into the game itself, Matt. What are some predictions you have for it?
I think Saquon's going to have a game. I think he's going to be excited for his first Super Bowl. I think his legs are ready to go. I think he's going to be hitting the holes quicker than he normally is. Plus, yeah. I'm pretty sure the last time he played in New Orleans, he went off. So, yeah.
I'm very interested to see what the matchup looks like between him and that Chiefs defense, because the Chiefs have generally been pretty good against the run. Teams tend to abandon the run against them, and even though when they actually do run the ball, it seems to work. So that's kind of like a confusing thing, and I feel like the Eagles probably will try to stubbornly stick to the run, but we'll see. Obviously it's always possible they try to make Jalen Hurts the hero, and that could be where they end up going wrong. But it's gonna be a lot of fun to see Saquon versus that Chiefs defense. This is definitely the biggest matchup. It was a shootout 2 years ago and they played. I don't think we're gonna see that this go around though. I think we're gonna see a lot of long possessions, and also just both defenses are tough. So
well, the tush push is going to come into play at least once in this game. AJ Brown, he was an innocent bystander in the last game. I think he really wants to get things going in this game. So look for him to be calling for the ball early.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because the Chiefs seem to be the team that figured out how to stop the tush push more than anyone else, because obviously the Eagles captured a lot of headlines for it, but the Bills are just as good at running that play and the Chiefs stuffed them on many occasions. Now, obviously, some of the stuffs
They're
are a
not.
little
They're not
questionable.
just as good. They run it way different. Allen hesitates and goes behind the guard instead of the center.
Yeah,
But,
I mean,
but Allen has
they
that tendency, and it's like, okay, he's going right there. That's where he's gonna go. Make sure he doesn't go there. That's what the Chiefs were good at stopping. This is an entirely different animal. They need 1 inch. They're probably gonna get a yard. It's the Eagles are the only team that it routinely works for.
yeah, I mean,
No other
nobody's
team in
stopping.
the NFL has as much success.
Yeah,
Everyone's like,
I'm
ban it. Okay, well, if you want to ban it, wait till all 32 teams can do it.
yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's a problem if everyone is able to do it with way too much success. At that point, it is a cheap play, but at this point, the Eagles are the only team that's been able to run it
I
that
don't
successfully.
think it's a cheap play.
Yeah, I'm saying
And that's
if
coming from a
everyone's
Notre
running
Dame
it
fan that
successfully.
watched it happen against the Irish. Because the Bush push was the first
Yeah.
rendition of the tush push.
But I'm saying, like, if all 32 teams are running it routinely and at 100% success rate, then we know something's wrong and we need to change it.
Yeah.
If it's just one team that's doing it better than everyone else, I don't think we should be doing anything about it. We shouldn't be interfering with the game.
I think I saw Jalen Hurts can squat like 600 pounds. When you have a quarterback that can squat that much, he's got some thickness to his legs, and you have that offensive line that may be the only thing they practice on Tuesdays. We don't know, but they have to practice that quite often in order for that to work. So I think the tush push is going to be a big play. I think Saquon's going to be heavily involved, and then AJ Brown is going to bail out what doesn't work.
Yeah. My big thing though is how big of a lead did the Eagles need in the fourth quarter in order to win this game? Because we know at this point, if it's within 10 points, the Chiefs are coming back and winning the game. That's just going to happen.
I would say
It's inevitable.
14 points to avoid too much ref interference, but 21 to be safe.
Yeah, and it is kind of interesting because, obviously the narrative is, very loud now. And it feels like this game 2 years ago is what really set the tone for that.
Well,
I mean, people were saying it before, but I feel like it really hit a fever pitch when these two played each other 2 years ago. And, the game had such an anticlimactic ending because of that holding call that, gave a Chiefs, a first down and eventually a touchdown.
Yeah, but look at the AFC Championship the year before that. That year. Joseph Osai ran Patrick Mahomes out of bounds, and it was a borderline. I don't think it deserved a flag, but they got a flag, and wouldn't you know, they won because of that flag. And
yeah,
the Bengals got called on numerous plays that you were like just scratching your head. And then we got to the
Super Bowl, and
that happened.
The second, third down, the Chiefs got stuff that was a giant mess.
Yeah, and at this point, I think the refs have gotten more obvious with it. But the refs association they continue to deny it. If you told me, if the NFL came out and told me, hey man, we're like WWE. It's all scripted. Some things may be off the book, but it's all scripted. I don't think I would be as pissed than you just not telling me. I think if you just told me straight up, hey man, this thing is scripted, I'd still watch. You may lose a lot of viewers because of that, but WWE in the 90s, when everyone thought it was fake and knew it was fake, that was still a huge success. Why not?
Yeah.
Like, if you're blatantly going to do it, just admit it so we can get it over with. So we can be like, okay. And then, like, maybe sprinkle in other teams. Maybe not just have dominating dynasties. Maybe you rig it for parity.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think it is, I don't think it's scripted or anything, but I definitely think at some point,
There's definitely ref
they
interference.
yeah, where they decide, okay, we want this team instead of this team, let's
So I
get
think
some calls in their direction.
I think what they are doing is, if it's a blowout, they're like, okay, whatever, this team's going to win anyway. If it's a close game, they choose who they want.
We have a pod pup tonight, it seems. My wife is not around to keep her busy, so she is like, hi, stop doing your podcast. I want to be with you.
But
say hi to the people, Maui.
but like, I think when it's in these close game situations, that's when they choose who they want to win. And right now,
yeah,
they want the Chiefs to win because it's more streams, more talking points, more whatever, because of the three-peat. And the first team since the Packers to win back-to-back-to-back championships, but the first team in the Super Bowl era to three-peat.
Where I think it's even worse, like, because the guys on the field, it is kind of tough to be on the field. Where I think it's worse, I think it's worse in the review booth. I think that's really where they're making certain calls in teams' favor, because obviously I think we saw a lot of that. That was where the Bills really lost to the Chiefs. Other than the Bills playing terrible defense, but in terms of just specifically speaking, reffing. From the reffing perspective, where the Bills really lost out to the Chiefs was in the review booth.
I will argue with that. I will argue with on that. Because I think no. Everyone knows where you're going with this. It's the same two plays that we've always talked about.
I have more plays I'm talking about here.
Okay, but I'm going to add to that and say I think the catch that was not, or that everyone thought was not a catch, was ruled a catch because of Julian Edelman's catch in the 28-3 Patriots game. Remember how that hit the turf? But they called it because because there was no bobble to it and it hit the turf. So they reviewed it and said that there was the ground didn't cause him to make the catch. He had possession. I think in that case, possession wasn't determined, but catch was determined.
Yeah.
So they couldn't rule possession until afterwards. With the Josh Allen one, I have told you multiple times, and I've said it on this show multiple times, I firmly believe that that one was based on the spot of the ball. If they had gotten the first down and
this,
overruled
that is actually where my point is going, is the spot of the ball, because I don't know if it was the guys on the sideline or who was it, but the Bills were getting screwed on the spot of the ball all game long.
Yeah.
Every single time there was
three first downs,
always
3 first downs, the blatant first downs that they pulled back 1 yard.
I think the compilation video that I've posted around a little bit, I have a bookmark, so I could even look back on it, but I think it's like 5 of them. And that video didn't even capture the times where it didn't feel like the Chiefs got a first down. There's probably 2 occasions where the Chiefs could have been marked short, but they got marked first down with no question. So that's really where the Bills were getting screwed that game, was just the awful spots. And what still bothers me is that Tony Romo at one point was going to mention it and they just cut his mic off.
Yeah.
Why did they cut his mic off? That is a huge question.
Yeah. Back to the Super Bowl though.
Yes.
Backing out of conspiracies. Keys to the Chiefs: stop the run And on offense, get the ball to Travis Kelce because your receivers aren't going to do a ton against Quinion Mitchell, Mr. Mustard Man, and that secondary.
I think the Mahomes run game is going to be really interesting too. This is the kind of game where they start to use him in those situations, and he managed to, because like the defense is looking for that because he just hasn't done it all year, and obviously if you even then, like, how do you stop that? Like, you try to stop it, and then something else gets open, and he usually spots it. So like you're just picking your poison with those kind of plays.
I think everybody at this point is like, okay, well, I'm rooting for the Eagles, but the Chiefs are going to win. So, do you have a different narrative than that?
No, that is what I'm thinking. Actually, my specific thought is, the Eagles probably take a lead in the halftime, and then second half, Chiefs come out, answer back, and then fourth quarter, Chiefs take the game over.
Chiefs and refs.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
So part of my thinking is we don't know how much longer we have Travis Kelce. He said he plans on playing after this season. He's 4 catches away from breaking Jerry Rice's all-time playoff catch record. I think if he gets that and they don't win, people won't really remember.
How many catches is it?
I think it's 3 to tie, 4 to break.
Okay. Just one of those things you gotta keep in the back of your mind if you're one of those people who likes to put a few shekels on the game.
Yeah. So I think if the Chiefs win, he may not be MVP, but it will be one of those where this Super Bowl will be remembered for Travis Kelce holding the trophy up if he wins, if he breaks the record, and over everything else. Because if like I said 2 seconds ago, if he breaks that and the Eagles win, no one's really going to remember that. People are like, "Oh yeah, Travis Kelce did break that."
Oh my gosh. Roger Goodell is just sitting in this basement right now thinking of how incredible that would be if that happened.
Yeah. So you can already see the storybook ending for the Chiefs. I don't know what
Okay, let's go over official pick here.
I mean, Chiefs, but obviously I'm rooting for Saquon Barkley.
Okay. I was wondering where you would go because, like, the way you kind of opened up the preview, like, it kind of sounded like you were thinking Eagles. I'm going with the Chiefs. I've made no doubt about that.
Do I want to see the Eagles win 100%?
Yeah.
Do I think it's going to happen? I don't think it's going to happen to the fault of the players.
I'm very surprised how many people are betting with their hearts instead of their minds with this game.
Oh, yeah.
Because I believe it's been like, I think it's at least like 70% of the bets are on the Eagles.
I would probably put, does that mean the money line is like plus like 200 for the Chiefs then?
No. Because the Chiefs are favored to win.
Okay. Because if that line crosses, I might put a bet on money line, but for right now, I'm probably just gonna put some shekels on the Eagles to cover the spread.
It's only 1.5, so it's like almost basically money line. Actually, one of my favorite ones is I have Eagles to cover the first half spread, Chiefs money line parlayed together. That's almost plus 400.
Dang.
Maybe plus 400, depending on what book you get it at. We're not sponsored by one, so we're not going to mention one here.
No. If you're looking to sponsor someone, we are taking applications.
Shameless plug there. All right. I don't think, this game has been like 2 weeks in the waiting. There's been tons of talk about it. I don't think there's anything else. I think people are actually getting tired of talking about it already. Yeah. Let's go to another topic at hand.
Myles Garrett has declared himself eligible for a trade. He requested a trade from the Browns.
He has formally submitted his wishes to be traded.
So he wants out of Cleveland. I don't blame him on that. He spent 8 years there, and other than 100+ sacks, not really much else to show for it. So, he did bash in Mason Rudolph's skull, so I guess there's that. But couple places that are really intriguing. Patriots have the most cap space at like 126 million. Raiders are second with 80 something million, and then it's the Chargers. Look for the Chargers to make a move, and I jokingly said this to Justin, and then I've been seeing this more and more online since I made that joke, is maybe the Raiders go after Myles Garrett and have Max Crosby and Myles Garrett with Wilkins in the middle and have nothing else on their team. Maybe they'll bring Devontae Adams back as well. That would be pretty cool. But one team that I do think will try to enter the sweepstakes, I don't know how lucky they'll be, but the Cincinnati Bengals are fourth in open cap space at 46.6 million. And that's assuming they don't sign T and don't give, I guess a Trey Hendrickson extension really wouldn't matter here. But yeah, I would expect them to be in the hunt as well, just because they need some type of other defensive lineman other than Hendrickson. They just don't have the money, but none of the money that he has currently is guaranteed. So,
yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's going to get have to get worked out. I can't see him going in the division. The Browns are not
easily
division. Honestly, they probably would be looking more at NFC destinations compared to AFC. Like the funny thing is though, like so the Chicago Bears have been mentioned. And, like they might be able to throw up like a good offer. But if they do like a huge offer and, entice the Browns that way, in a way, and if Myles Garrett agrees to that, in a way, aren't the Browns just like dissing on themselves? Because, like in their situations, like you do not want to feel like Myles Garrett is more confident he can contend for a Super Bowl with the Bears than the Browns, because ultimately both teams are in a struggling position.
Yeah. So they okay, I guess there's a few other teams in there. I don't remember what I don't know what the graphic was saying, but Commanders are third with 82 million in cap. Bears are fourth. I'm just going over NFC teams at this point. Cardinals are sixth. Cardinals are working their way up. And with Myles Garrett, maybe they can turn.
That's another interesting one where it's like, what does that say about the Browns if Myles Garrett thinks he has a better chance of winning Super Bowl with the Cardinals than the Browns? I mean, to give our listeners a better context here, should we read off his statement?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. As a kid dreaming of the NFL, all I focused on was the ultimate goal of winning a Super Bowl. And that goal fuels me today more than ever. My love for the community of Northeast Ohio and the incredible fan base of the Cleveland Browns has made this one of the toughest decisions of my life. These past 8 years have shaped me into the man I am today. While I've loved calling the city home, my desire to win and compete on the biggest stages won't allow me to be complacent. The goal was never to go from Cleveland to Cancun. It has always been to compete for and win a Super Bowl. With that in mind, I have requested to be traded from the Cleveland Browns. Signed.
All right. So we can pretty much narrow this list down to the Commanders, maybe Vikings, depending on how he's that the Lions, the Bengals, depending on how he sees that, the Niners, depending on how he sees that, the Packers.
Now,
Now
I
we're
think,
starting to get a little
you know,
thin on cap space, but
yeah, the Packers would be intriguing if they could find a way to make the move. I mean, I think Garrett would be fine going to the Bengals. He would love to be on the same team as Joe Burrow, but again, I just can't see the Browns making this trade within the division. They have probably already told, ruled out. Well, we'll talk about more what the Browns are thinking in a little bit, but they are absolutely 100% ruling out the Bengals, Ravens, and Steelers. They're not going to give him to those teams.
Well, you can rule out the Bills because they're at negative 16 million in cap.
Yep.
And
once again, the Bills are poor.
The Bucks are at minus 3 million. The Texans are at minus 2 million, and the Ravens have only 7 million in cap. Kansas City has 15 million. So do with those numbers with what you want, but we will speculate that the earlier teams will probably be in better position than the latter.
So finally, Matt, what is your final prediction?
For Myles Garrett?
Yep.
I think he goes to Detroit.
Mine is I don't think he gets traded. The Browns have already said they have no intention to trade him. They still have him under contract.
They did walk that back like a day later.
We've seen these public trade requests happen before. And how often do they actually result in a trade? Not very often. I think the most recent one was what we tried to talk about it. We tried to figure it out. I think the most recent one that was actually granted was Russell Wilson to the Broncos.
I don't remember. Did he request a trade?
I thought so.
When I brought up that
yeah. Because remember, like him
that was a dead cap thing
anymore.
Yeah, but what I was getting at with that was it's a dead cap thing, and you were like, well, they have like 30 million in dead cap if they trade him. That was my point on that, is that they don't care about the dead cap hit. As long as they get him off the team and get something in return, they'll figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't see the Browns wanting to pay $36 million to Myles Garrett to play for another team.
I mean, we didn't think that we would see the Walton family want to do that with Russell Wilson, but here we are.
Well, that's because Russell Wilson sucked. That's because he was bad. So they just wanted him out of there. But in this case here, Myles Garrett's still at the prime of his career. He is the centerpiece of that defense. The Browns, internally, I think they still think, they might just be a quarterback away from contending. They just made the playoffs last year.
Yeah, but I don't really think the Browns they may be contending for a playoff spot, but I don't think they're really contending for Super Bowl. I don't think they're that.
How we feel is a little bit different than how their front office feels. They have to think differently.
I think there has to be a sense of realism within the front office, though, too.
But I mean, again, though, it would be different if they were like the typical Browns and always towards the bottom of the division and stuff. Again, this team just made the playoffs last year.
Justin, their starting quarterback has been in a series of lawsuits for the past 5 years, and he tore his Achilles again while rehabbing his torn Achilles.
Yeah. I mean, he was the problem this year. He was so bad that
their backup
fell apart. But
their backup said, "Oh yeah, I don't mind playing for the New York Football Giants."
Well, that is a little bit tough. That is a little bit tough. But get yourself a rookie in there that can, you draft a rookie quarterback, and it can change everything. Like we just saw that with the Commanders and Jaden Daniels.
We saw that with Baker Mayfield and the Browns. And then their fan base ran Baker Mayfield out of town.
No, not their fan base. I think Kevin Stefanski ran them out.
Hey,
I mean,
their fan base was ruthless.
Don't forget about that Monday night game where they played the Steelers and threw the ball 60 times, even though Baker had like a torn labrum and like a broken humerus and like 3 other injuries to his shoulder.
Yeah, and along with that, the fan base many weeks before that was like, get Baker out of here. Like, he got their only playoff win in this chapter, or like this version of the Browns. The first version of the Browns had many playoff wins. This version of the Browns has 1 playoff win. Ironically enough, against the Steelers, but yeah. Yeah, you think he'll stay? I think he'll still go. Moving on, before I get to the Luka trade, which was extremely shocking, I do have breaking news. The Heat are trading Jimmy Butler to the Warriors for Andrew Wiggins, Dennis Schroeder, and Kyle Anderson, and a protected first-round pick. So disgruntled Jimmy Butler is now going to the Bay Area to play with Steph Curry.
So I'm gonna have to hit the pause button on you for a moment here. Obviously, I don't watch the NBA. I pay zero attention to the NBA. We are mostly a football podcast, so I'm sure some of our listeners probably don't know what's going on. So go ahead and explain this to me and potentially listeners who mostly pay attention to football.
So Jimmy Butler is a big star in the NBA. I would kind of compare him to Lamar Jackson, where he's flashy, he can win awards, but he hasn't won MVPs like Lamar has. But when he gets to the playoffs, he and his teams don't really get much traction in the playoffs. Well, he requested a trade. I guess there was like a lot going on with the Heat. I guess he wants an extension and another player to come in. They didn't give him the extension. They weren't really looking at getting other players. So he's made a bunch of comments, sat out a little bit, or he got suspended. And so he sat out a little bit. They brought him back. He made more comments, and then they suspended him again. And so there's been rumors swirling of him being traded for a while. Out of the blue, no foresight could have said anything about this happening. Out of the blue, the Dallas Mavericks trade 25-year-old superstar Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers for a bunch of old men. The Jazz came in on that and sent more old men to the Mavs. But basically, the Mavs just traded away their future. That would be like the Bengals trading Joe Burrow for Dak. And the reason behind the trade was of conditioning concerns, because Luka Doncic got up to 270, but he's still averaging like 30 points, 10 assists, and 6 rebounds a game. So, personally, if he's contributing on the court, I don't care how heavy he is. He could be getting rejected from lift at 489 pounds, and I would still have him on my team as long as he was producing. The GM was basically like, okay, well, he's kind of getting too fat, so we don't think that he's really going to produce. So here you go, Los Angeles. So now LeBron has a young superstar to try to go deep into the playoffs with.
So they're the ones that actually proposed this thing?
Yeah, and they didn't let anybody else, no other team knew. Many teams are trying to get the NBA to walk the trade back because of competitive advantages for the Lakers, because they sought out the Lakers and proposed the trade. NBA 2K won't let you do this trade on your own. So basically, Luka Doncic got traded for Anthony Davis, and then Markieff Morris, and like another guy in his like 30s. But Anthony Davis got hurt a few nights before the trade, so he's out a week already, not playing for the Mavs. So
But
the Mavs don't have a bad roster. They still have Kyrie, now they have AD, and they have a few other pieces to work with. So they'll probably be somewhat competitive over the next couple years. But after that, dude, they don't have much of a future outside of that. And they're not going to be winning championships with this roster. But the Lakers have a future with Luka Doncic. Eastern Europe is going to be Lakers fans now, or Nuggets fans, I guess, because of I can't think. I can't think of his name. I don't know why I'm blanking. he's like Jokic. He's a center for the Nuggets. He's like Doncic is like a top 5 player in the NBA, just FYI. So
okay.
it was absolutely shocking to see this trade. And nobody thought it was real at first. And then everybody started the news.
The main thing I saw was a lot of people seem to think that the person that tweeted it out got hacked.
Yeah. And that's how ridiculous of a trade it is. I can't imagine that the Mavs GM is going to be a GM much longer. And I think he just traded away his chance at ever being GM again.
Yeah, I would say so. Like, if you're not in it to win it, then what are you doing?
Yeah. So, yeah, that's NBA news. A couple other trades that happened. De'Aaron Fox. So many of you may remember him from his Kentucky days. He got traded to the Spurs to team up with Victor Wembanyama. So now you have a superstar point guard and a superstar center. So the Spurs will be pretty good for a while. Mavs fans, if you're looking for a team, swallow your pride. Be a Spurs fan.
Oh my.
Got anything else to add, Justin?
Nope. That was definitely. I don't understand why teams do that. It's hard for me to get into the NBA, and this kind of feels like why, because there's not a lot of parity with it. Well, for one, we're also in Cincinnati, so we're really not in an NBA region. This area cares more about college basketball than professional anyways, because we don't have any NBA teams here. But obviously we have a lot of traditionally good college basketball programs, even though they're all currently down right now.
Speaking of college basketball, fire Wes Miller, hired
No,
Bob Huggins. Huh?
We know people on the team. You can't be saying that live.
If they fire Wes Miller, Bob Huggins will retain those players. I guarantee it. Bob Huggins, as long as he has a chauffeur to go around town so he's not caught drinking and driving again, will bring the Bearcats to the top of the Big 12.
Some of the comments Matt says do not reflect me or the podcast as a whole. Just in case some people see this.
UC needs to be competitive in something other than baseball.
I mean, I do admit, it's looking tough right now. Obviously took over a mess that the previous coach left behind, but this is going on year 4 without a tournament appearance. So that's kind of the
Cut
situation.
him out. All right. Justin, time for the wheel.
Time for the wheel. All right.
It's the box
No,
with an arrow.
Yes, I know. I'm aware of that. I've shared many times on this, but once again, it is not working.
It's not. I'm not having any problems.
Wait, I'm able to steal it if you share. Oh no. We're no longer live, man.
All right, well, I guess the show ended there.
Oh no.
do the wheel, I'll edit it.
Okay. So the wheel is going to be on separate episode, I guess. Oh, that's fun. Yeah. So there's something that definitely is not allowing me to share it while we're live. And apparently, if I try to force my way into sharing, it will kick us off of the live.
No, I think I hit the wrong button and it popped up with a box, and then I think it was really
I
my
shouldn't have
fault.
stopped sharing when you.
I was trying to stop sharing mine, and then I get as I'm hitting the stop share, it popped up with a box that said stop stream in the same spot that it said stop share. So
Oh my.
the edited version will have more to it. So go ahead and share, Justin, for the spin.
It's not letting me share now.
Okay, we will not do the spin. So not gonna have the same. Not gonna have a different episode. So catch us on YouTube. Give us a like, a subscribe if you are listening to us. Go ahead and like whatever app you're listening to us from, and please find us on social media. Like us, interact with us. We do like hearing from everybody, and please give good feedback. Not too much hate. We love sending out love. Justin, anything else?
No, that's basically all I was gonna say too.
All right. Catch
Have
you
a good
guys
one,
next
everyone.
time.